Katha Gita Same Narad Muni Bajai Vaisesika Shavana Jugale Kiya Katha Jana Sagane Nache Bariya Mataya Jagat Tanne Jehovah Hane Jehovah Nache Jehovah Mane Mane Narade Dori Premera Sagara Ro Kamala Sana Nachia Bole Bolo Bolo Hari Bolo plays his string veena, everybody. The holy name of Radhika Ramana descends and immediately appears amidst the kirtan of the Lord's devotees. Like a monsoon cloud, the holy name showers pure nectar into their ears. All the devotees, with great ecstasy, enthusiastically dance to their heart's content. All the inhabitants of the universe become maddened upon entering this intoxicating shower of divine sweetness. Some people cry, some dance, and others become fully intoxicated in their minds. The five-faced Lord Shiva embraces Narada Muni, repeatedly makes loud screams of ecstatic joy, while Lord Brahma dances very ecstatically and exclaims, "All of you chant, Hari Bol, Hari Bol." In supreme happiness, the thousand-faced Anandashesha sings and calls out, "Hari." By the influence of the transcendental vibration of that name, the whole universe becomes ecstatically maddened, and everyone tastes and relishes the mellows of the holy name. The holy name of Krishna has fulfilled all my desires by thus manifesting on everyone's tongue. Bhakti Vinod, the humble servant of the Lord, therefore prays at the feet of Sri Rupa Goswami that the chanting of Harinam may always continue. Nara Muni Bhajai Vina. And now we're going to recite our Bhagavatam verses from the 12th canto, because the test is nigh, which means it's coming up soon. Is everybody ready for the test? 2 people said yes. You've memorized all the verses? Yes? The main trick is to be consistent and do it every day. So this is just a refresher. And what's the date? Yogadish? Get your scene together? Wow. Okay, here we go. What do you want to do, Sanskrit or English? What do you need more? Samskrita krihina rajasa tamasavrita rajaste bhaksha yishyanti mlacharajanya rupina Shri Shukuvacha tataschanudhinam dharma satyam shaucham shamadaya Kalena balina rajan nangshyat yahur balam smriti Dampatye virchur hetur mayaiva vyavaharike Stritve punsve chahiratir vipratve sutramevahi Lingameva shamakyata Anyonya patikaranam avritya nyaya daurbalyam panditye chapalam vacha anadyatha sadhudve damba evatu svikare eva chodvahe snanameva prasadana Dure varyayanam tirtam lavanyam keshadharanam udaram bharata swarata satyatve darshyamevahi Daksham Kutumba Baranam Yashorate Dharma Sevanam Rajahi Lubdar Rajanyar Nirgrinyar Dasudharmavi Achina Daradravinya Yasyanti Girikananam Shaka Mula Misha Shodra Pala Pushpashti Bojana Anavrishta Vinangshanti Durbiksha Karapidita Kalir Dosha Nidhe Rajan Asti Heko Mahanguna Kirtana Deva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Parambraje Krite Yadyayato Vishnum Kritayam Yajato Mukai Gapare Paricharyayam Kalota Dhari Kirtana Sutuvacha Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Maruta Studvanti Divyaistaver Vedai Sangha Padakramo Pashanidver Gayanti Yam Yamaga Dhanata Stitatad Gatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yasyantam Navidu Sura Surakana Devaya Tasmai Namah Sarva Vedanta Sadam Hi Shri Bhagavantam Ishate Tadrasamrita Triptasya Nanyatrasya Kvachit Nimnaganam Yatha Ganga Devanam Achuto Katha Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu Purananam Idam Tatha Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Panama Samekam Amalam Jnanam Param Dhyate Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naishkaryam Avishkritam Tachchinmam Supatan Vicharana Paro Bhaktya Vimuchenara Namna Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam Pranamo Dukha Shamanas Tam Namami Harim Param Go Premanande Shri Guru Puja Shri Guru Vandanam First slide, please. Chadiyash Vaishnava Seva Nistayash Charipi Nistara Paye Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistar Paye Chekeba Nama Srishnam Manamapi Shachiputram Matra Sarupam Rupam Tasya Grajam Uruparim Aturim Goshtavati Radha Kundam Girivanam Aho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shigurum Tangdatosmi He Guru Jnanadarina Bando Swananda Data Koranaika Sindo Vrindavana Sinahitavatar Rasida Radha Pranaya Prachara. He Dina Bando Kuranaika Sindo Kuru Prasadam Mai Manda Mudhe Laksha Parade Bahupapagade Tatpada Padne Stumatishta Krishna Yadyapi Amar Guru Chaitanya Radas Tatapi Janiyami Tahara Prakash Guru Krishna Rupahai Shastrera Pramane Guru Rupe Krishna Kripa Karena Bhaktagane Shikha Guru Keta Jani Krishnera Swarupa Antaryami Bhakta Shresht E Duriru Naivo Bhayantya Pachitim Kavayasta Vesha Ramayushapi Kridam Ridamudasmaranta Yontar Bahistanu Ashubam Badunvan Acharya Chaitya Vapusha Swagatim Yanakti. Without serving the representative of Krishna, nobody can approach Krishna. I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have obtained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the service of the son of Shachi Mata, the association of Srila Sarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami and his older brother Sanathan Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, the divine Radha Kund and Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Shri Radhika and Madhava in Vrindavan. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss, and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavan, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha for Krishna. Please be kind upon me. O friend of the lowly, O Guru Dev, you are the only ocean of mercy. I am a dull fool and have committed hundreds of thousands of offenses. I have fallen into a dense myriad of sins. Therefore grace me with your mercy, so that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet and on Sri Krishna. Although I know that my spiritual master is a servitor of Sri Chaitanya, I know him also as a plenary manifestation of the Lord. Every living entity is eternally a servant of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Therefore, the spiritual master cannot be other than a servant of Lord Chaitanya. The spiritual master's eternal occupation is to expand the service of the Lord by training disciples in a service attitude. According to the deliberate opinion of the real scriptures, the spiritual master is non-different from Krishna. Lord Krishna, in the form of the spiritual master, delivers his devotees. The relationship of the disciple with his spiritual master is as good as his relationship with the Supreme Lord. Spiritual masters always represent themselves as the humblest servitors of the personality of Godhead. But the disciple must look upon the spiritual master as a manifested representation of Godhead. One should know the instructing spiritual master to be the personality of Krishna. Lord Krishna manifests himself as the Supersoul and as the greatest devotee of the Lord. The initiating spiritual master, thank you, is a personal manifestation of Srila Madan Mohan Vigraha, whereas the instructing spiritual master is a personal representative of Srila Govinda Dev Vigraha. O my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science could not fully express their indebtedness to you, even if they were endowed with the prolonged lifetime of Brahma. For you appear in two features, externally as the Acharya and internally as the Supersoul, to deliver the embodied living being by directing him how to come to you. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. Bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opened our eyes and fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vaisesika sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds.
Yeah, kartals. I don't have a pocket. Okay. Try again. I keep missing it.
Let me do that for you.
Okay, I got it, I think. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma Bando Mui Sabadana Jahar prasade bhai ei bhava choriya jai Jahara prasade bhai ei bhava choriya jai Krishna prapti hoy na hote Krishna prapti hoy na hote Padma vakya chitte te koriyaya Guru mukha padma vakya chitte te koriyaya Anako
Eisei Tamoruji. Guru Charane Raji Eisei Tamoruji. Prasade Pure Saro Asha Jai Prasade Pure Saro Asha Prema bhakti jaha hoite abhija vinash jate Vede gaya hara charito Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Atmajanara Bandhu Lokanath Lokera Jivana Ha Prabhu Kar Jaya De Hamare Kar Chaya Ede Jashi Shukri Bhuvana Ha Prabhu Kar Jaya De Hamare Kar Chaya Ha Prabhu Kar Jaya De Hamare Kar Chaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Tathasata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Tathasata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Srimati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga.
Isn't the black one louder, better? What do you think? This one's good? The black one's not better? I heard it was. This is fancy schmancy, but you can't get any sound out of it. Where'd this come from? Whose harmonium is this? Never seen it before in my life. Have you? Is it okay? It's on shaky grounds. Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari Vraja Janarandana Jashodanandana Vraja Janarandana Jashodanandana Vraja Janarandana Jashodanandana Vraja Janarandana Jamunatiramanachari Jamunatiramanachari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Go Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Narayanam Namaskritya. Naram Chaiva Narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Tato Jayamudiraye. This means second canto. This means 11th. Are you in the second or 11th? This is second, this is 11th. No. 11th canto. Bhayam Dvitiya. As all of you have probably discovered, this verse from Kavi Yogendra in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the instructions given by the Yogendras, Kavi, Havi, Antariksha, Prabhuda, Pipalayana, Antariksha, Karbhajana, Drumala, and did I say Shri Antariksha? Shri Antariksha. Sorry, Shri Antariksha. They were among the 100 sons of Rishabhadev. Also among them was Bharat Maharaj. And the 11 Yogendras had banded together as traveling teachers, and seemingly randomly they descended upon the assembly where Maharaj Nimi was performing sacrifice, as was the dharma of the time. And when they descended, the 9 Yogendras, everyone stood up, as is the custom when an exalted devotee or devotees come into our midst. We should stand up to show respect. This we also find when Shukadev Goswami came into the assembly of devotees, including Vyasadeva and other stalwarts from around the universe who had assembled to give support to Maharaj Parikshit. When Shukadev arrived, they stood up to show respect. And the Bhagavatam describes how even the fire stood up. Of course, it's Agni who accepts the offerings, and the tongue is the flames, but even the fire stood up in respect for the Nava-Yogendras as they came, and Maharaj Nimi welcomed them by offering prayers and obeisances. And this is one of the benefits mentioned in the Shastra, that if one is performing some yajna, then the possibility is there that a great devotee may come. Otherwise, karma kanda and other kinds of sacrifices are status quo, doesn't take one anywhere. But by sadhu sangha, sadhus may come to such an assembly, and as we know from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, even a moment's association with a sadhu can give us an inspiration for the ultimate goal of life and the wherewithal to take up the process to achieve it. So Maharaj Nimi, being a very intelligent king, had then inquired from the Yogendras, asking them to explain to him the process of self-realization. And this verse starts with Bhayam Dvitiya Abhinibeshita Syad Ishad Apetasya Viparyajo Smriti. So the verb here is Syad. And Syad means that something occurs or it arises. And there are several things, and the first two padas that describe what's arising from a phenomena which is unique to the tatastha jiva, who can cohort with either the internal or the external potency, as is described in the Vishnu Purana by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vishnu Shakti Paraprokta Kshetra Gyakya Tatapara Avidya Karma Sangyangya Tritiya Shakti Rishite. The summarization of the various categories of energy: internal, external, and marginal. And marginal means that the fragmental part, Keshavya, Keshavra, Shatabhagasha, Shadamsha, Shatrishatmaka, Jiva Sukspa, Surupo Yang, Sankatito Hichitkana, a particle of consciousness, which is part and parcel of the supreme consciousness, is the jiva. And Krishna describes Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana Manakshastan Indriyani Prakriti Stani Karshati. When the jiva, whose marginal means like the beach, sometimes it's wet, sometimes it's dry. And the particle of Krishna is sometimes attracted to the external energy, and sometimes it's absorbed in and taking shelter of the internal potency. And so the condition of the living entity is dependent on its association and its consciousness, and syat, what is the result of the phenomena of when the living being becomes disoriented from his ultimate interest in life, which is Krishna, and service to Krishna. One-pointed devotional service to Krishna, which was a conclusion given by Sutta Goswami in the first canto of the Bhagavatam, Tasmat ekena manasa bhagavan sattvatam pati shrotavya kirtitavyascha dhyeya pujascha nityada. It's a tasmad, means therefore, conclusion. For the living being, the highest dharma is to give one-pointed attention. Tasmat ekena manasa, give the mind in one direction to Krishna. Bhagavan, Sattvatam Pati, he's the protector of the devotees. How do you do that? Shrotavya, by hearing. Kirtitavyascha, chanting, etc. Dhyeya, meditating. Pujas, offering puja. Chanityada, and how often should you do it? Well, pretty much all the time, or at least every day. And so, if one isn't engaged in devotional service, hearing, chanting, remembering Krishna, then the condition, syat, that arises is, first of all, bhayam. And the condition is dvitiya. We become distracted from our main purpose and we think there's a second purpose. There's something more important than devotional service. And by its very nature, the material nature, tanmayato, is described in the third pada as the potency for illusion. That's also in the verse I quoted from the Vishnu Purana, Kshetra Gyakya Tatapara. Avidya karma sangyangya. Avidya means it's a potency of the Lord that can absorb the errant jiva, who becomes enamored of the external energy and then becomes abhinibheshita, absorbed in it. And how does that happen? It's the potency of the Lord. Daivahi esha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. Mamebe eprapadyante maya metam tarantite. Krishna says, external energy, it's inferior energy, nonetheless it's mine, and therefore it's divine. It's part of my, it's one of my potencies, therefore it's a divine potency also, albeit inferior. And abhinibheshata means one becomes completely absorbed in it, enters into that potency, and then becomes forgetful of Ishad. Ishad means the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who's our protector and our main interest in, our only interest in life, because we're part and parcel, just like my hand is part of my body. And its usefulness depends on its connection to the body. Case in point, if one's hand is severed from the body and then left on the side of the road at Highway 101, right at the turnoff of Rengsdorf, and it's just there in the rain and snow and ants, and I don't want to get too deep graphic. It's not valuable. It becomes a grotesque item that is discarded, or it is shockingly present there and also noticeably unuseful when it's separated from the body. And similarly, when a living being becomes dvitiya, divided in purpose from serving Krishna, and abhinibheshita, and then becomes fully absorbed in that. In fact, Prabhupada describes the goings-on in the material world as a colossal hoax. One may say, well, that sounds bombastic or somewhat hyperbolic. But it's not, because the living being actually has no real interest in the material energy. Asangohyayam purusha means there's no real purpose or no real connection. We have no sangha, nothing to see here. Our favorite sign as we enter at Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's Samadhi Mandir near Yogapith. There's a sign there next to a small building that's at the entranceway that says, "There's nothing to see here." My favorite sign, because that's actually a sign on the outside of the material world. Nonetheless, it appears to be a good idea. And can we keep looking at the verse? It's kind of nice, just for a little while more. So, what happens? What is a natural result of abhinibheshata, being absorbed in dvitiya, something separate from the Lord? Well, spoiler alert, there is nothing separate from the Lord. But one's consciousness then becomes diverted and thinks there's something separate. And what does Krishna say about that? He says, Ratertam yat pratiyeta, na pratiyeta chatmani, tadvidyat atmanomhayam, itabaso yatatamaha. That's darkness. It's ignorance. Ratertam yat pratiyeta. If you see something and you don't understand or comprehend its connection to the Lord, then that's an illusory vision, because everything is connected to the Lord. Krishna consciousness means reconnecting everything to the Lord through service. And so the unfortunate condition of the living being is to forget Krishna, to think there's something more important. For instance, Dvitiya also, our Acharya's comment is related to the material body. This is a second thing. The real thing is the soul. Actually, the real thing is the super soul. We're part and parcel of the super soul, but somehow or other, my consciousness gets absorbed in the idea of janasya moho yamoham mameti, that I am this body. And then I have an array of artificial duties to do in the material world to take care of this body and all the byproducts of the body. And I think that that's my main interest. And I become fully absorbed in it, abhinibheshita. And so, ishad apetasya, he said, what else arises from this illusory misidentification with the so-called separate entity from the Lord? Apetasya viparyayo. Viparyayo means that you're turned around, it's opposite, like the verse, Swe Swe adhikariyanishta saguna parikirtita. Viparyaya tu dosha sad means opposite. Opposite smriti. Asmriti means to forget. You lose your intelligence. You lose the clear direction in life. A clear direction in life. And viparyayo, become turned around from your real interest. Apetasya, mean you're facing the wrong direction. Tanmaya yato, and goes with that second line, tanmaya yato, means, and how does it happen? By the potency for illusion called Maya. The potency for illusion called Maya. Maya has two distinct potencies. One is the throwing potency, and the other is the covering potency. Don't underestimate it. Someone may say, oh, that's all right, and next thing you know, and what happened? Where am I? Where have I been for billions and billions of years? The potency of Maya is so strong that it can separate us from our true interest in life if we're not careful, and also cover us so that we forget our real identity. And Tanmaya yato, and we can remember that that potency comes from Krishna. Buddha. Now we come to the last statement, which is Buddha is somebody who's intelligent. An intelligent person, habhajet, is related to the word bhaja, means that you should worship. Tam means him, like you're pointing to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tat, by Sunday it becomes tam. Bhaktyika. So what kind of activity should you have? Bhakti and eka together. You get the diphthong y, a-i, and then you get bhaktyeka. Means one thing, just do bhakti. Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kohe Suridanishra Krishna Bhakti Koila Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. This is what this feeling is for the devotees, is that there's only one thing to do in this life, it's bhakti. Everything else is maintaining a temporary duty that I have to attend to at a particular time in my life, and I do it dutifully. Sir, yes sir, thank you sir, no sir, yes sir, thank you very much sir, but my heart's not in it. My heart's only in serving Krishna. So that's bhaktya eka, one thing. Bhaktya eka yesham guru devatatma. And how does one do that? Through the agency in this world, the guru tattva principle. Krishna provides representation here in this material world. And one should take the service to guru, consider guru devata, to be one's worshipful deity. And atma, one's very self. And by doing that, this is Kavi Yogendra speaking, the intelligent person can turn around again and become reoriented towards the ultimate goal of life. And now let's look at the translation. Fear arises when a living entity misidentifies himself as the material body because of absorption in the external, illusory energy of the Lord. When the living entity thus turns away from the Supreme Lord, he also forgets his own constitutional position as a servant of the Lord. This bewildering, fearful condition is affected by the potency for illusion called Maya. Therefore, an intelligent person should engage unflinchingly in the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, whom he should accept as his worshipable deity and his very life and soul. According to Srila Sridhar Swami, the objection may be raised that since fear is caused by ignorance, it can be dispelled by knowledge, and there is no need to worship the Supreme Lord. The living entity falsely identifies with his material body, family, society, and so on, and he simply has to give up this false identification. Then what will Maya be able to do? In reply to this argument, Srila Sridhar Swami has quoted the following verse from Bhagavad Gita 7:14. Daiva yesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mame vaye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. This divine energy of mine, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. The living entity called Jiva Tattva is one of the potencies of the Supreme Lord, but the constitutional position of the living entity is tatastha, or marginal. Being minute, every living entity is eternally dependent upon the Supreme living entity, Krishna. This is confirmed in the Vedic literature as follows. Nitya nityanam chaitanas chaitananam ekobahunam yo vididhati kaman. Among all the eternally conscious beings, there is one supreme eternal living being who is supplying the needs of all the innumerable others. Katha Upanishad 2:1-12. Krishnadas Kaviraj has stated, Ekale Ishvara Krishna Arsa Britta. Krishna is the only independent controller. All other living entities depend on him. Adi Lila 5.142. Just as the finger is part and parcel of the body and therefore must always be engaged in bodily service, we as parts and parcels of Krishna, Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, have the eternal duty, Sanatan Dharma, of engaging in the unalloyed service of the Lord. The potency of the Lord that enlightens us in the Lord's service is called Chit Shakti. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that when the living entity develops a spirit of independence, he is forced to come to the material world, where he enters into various types of petty and undesirable behavior that create a fearful situation for him. The Bahiranga Shakti, the illusory potency of the Supreme Lord, covers all trace of the Chit Shakti and imposes one material body after another upon the living entity for his gross sinful enjoyment. As further punishment, the living entity who has given up his loving relationship with Krishna loses all power to perceive the eternal blissful form of the Supreme Lord, who is his actual shelter. Instead, the living entity becomes attached to many temporary phantasmagorial forms, such as his personal body, the bodies of his family members and friends, his nation, his city, with its buildings and cars, and innumerable types of ephemeral material scenery. In such a state of gross ignorance, the idea of returning to one's original identity no longer even crosses the mind. By the laws of God, the three modes of material nature are constantly in conflict, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita. This conflict is described in many places in the Bhagavatam as guna vyatikaram. When the living entity is bewildered by the interactions of the modes of material nature, he comes to the conclusion of relativity and assumes that God and worship of God are simply byproducts of the relative contradictory interactions of nature's modes. In the name of anthropological, sociological, and psychological perspective, the living entity falls deeper and deeper into the darkness of materialistic ignorance, dedicating himself to mundane piety, economic development, sense gratification, or speculation, in which he regards the absolute as lacking variety and personality, which he assumes to be products of the interactions of nature's modes. Is everyone listening? The illusory potency of the Supreme Lord is duratyaya. It is impossible to escape without the direct mercy of Krishna. Mameva ye prapadyante, mayametam tarantite. The example may be given that when the sun is covered by clouds, no man-made apparatus can remove them from the sky, but the sun itself, which created the clouds, can immediately burn away the cloudy covering and reveal itself. Similarly, when we become covered by the illusory potency of the Lord, we identify with our temporary material body, and thus we are always in fear and anxiety. But when we surrender to the Lord himself, he can immediately free us from this illusion. The material world is padam padam yavipadam. It is dangerous at every step. When a living entity understands that he is not the material body, but an eternal servant of God, his fear is vanquished. As stated by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, atra bhaktai sangsara bandhan na betavyam sahi bhaktau pravarta manasya swata eva payati. In this Bhagavat Dharma, devotees have no need to fear the bondage of material existence. That fear goes away of its own accord for one who engages in devotional service. It is important to make clear that bhayam, or fear, cannot ultimately be vanquished simply by impersonal self-realization as expressed by the words aham brahmasmi, I am spirit soul. In Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.12, Narada Muni says to Vyasadeva, Naishkarmyam apyachuta bhava varjitam nashobhate. Mere naishkarmyam, or cessation of material activities and repudiation of the bodily concept of life, cannot ultimately save one. The living entity must find a superior shelter on the spiritual platform. Otherwise, he will come back to the fearful situation of material existence. That is stated in Shastra, Aruya Krishrena Parampadang Tata Patantyado Nadrita Yushmad Angrayaha. Bhagavatam 10.2.32. Although one may, with great labor and effort, struggle to the Brahman platform, Klesho Dikataraste Sham, Avikta Sakta Chetasam. If he does not find a suitable shelter, he will come back to the material platform. His so-called liberation is vimuktamana, liberation by imagination. That's not good. The living entity is by nature pleasure-seeking, anandamaya. Now we are suffering because we are falsely seeking pleasure on the material platform, and as a result, we are becoming entangled in the painful complexities of material existence. But if we try to give up the pleasure-seeking propensity altogether, we shall eventually become frustrated and return to the platform of material pleasure-seeking. Although there is eternal existence on the Brahman platform of impersonal realization, there is no ananda. Variety is the mother of enjoyment. In the Vaikuntha planets, there is actual spiritual ananda. Krishna is there in his ecstatic spiritual form, surrounded by his blissful associates, all of them eternally full of bliss and knowledge. They have nothing to do with material existence. In the spiritual planets, even the scenery and birds and animals are fully conscious of Krishna and are absorbed in transcendental bliss. Yadgatva na nivartante tadhama paramang mama. Bhagavad Gita 15:6. The one who goes to the blissful spiritual planet of Krishna will be fully satisfied and never come back to the material platform. Therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has said, Kim chatra bhaktai samsara bandhana bhetavyam. Only the bhakta actually becomes free from fear. In this connection, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has emphasized the necessity of accepting a bona fide spiritual master who is Vrajendranandana Preshta, the dearmost servitor of the son of Nanda Maharaj, Krishna. The bona fide spiritual master is completely free from envy of other living entities, and therefore he freely distributes knowledge of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When the living entities who are inimical to the service of the Lord somehow hear this knowledge submissively, they become free from the illusory potency of the Lord, which has covered them and thrown them into various miserable species of life. According to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, by the mercy of the spiritual master, the faithful disciple gradually realizes the transcendental position of Lord Narayan, who is served with great awe and reverence by hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortune. And the disciple's transcendental knowledge gradually increases. Even the Paramaishvarya, or supreme opulence of the Lord of Vaikuntha, becomes pale in the light of the beauty of Govinda Krishna. Govinda has inconceivable potency to enchant and give pleasure, and by the mercy of the spiritual master, the disciple gradually develops his own blissful relationship, rasa, with Govinda. Having understood the blissful pastimes of Lakshmi Narayan, Sri Sitaram, Rukmini, Dwarkadish, and finally Lord Krishna himself, the purified living entity is given the unique privilege of participating directly in the devotional service of Krishna, who becomes his only object and shelter. Vadimashta. Problem solved. So let's see if we have questions. And questions can drive the conversation to a new level. Hey, how'd you get here? What is it, spring break? Welcome back. Good to see you.
In this last part, it's talking about the blissful pastimes, and it mentions them, and he says, finally, Lord Krishna himself. I was wondering why, generally speaking, people consider Krishna as an avatar of Vishnu and not the other way around. Why is that more commonly accepted?
Lots of things are commonly accepted and are not accurate. In general, for instance, in a democracy, people are supposed to be well educated so they can make good choices, but oftentimes they don't because they don't know what they're doing. And in general, people make opinions about this, that, and the other thing without having complete knowledge. And therefore, they errantly describe the position of God and so forth. Prabhupada mentioned it earlier that oftentimes through speculation or listening to other speculators, they accept God as impersonal, which is a big mistake. That's a huge category mistake to say that God's impersonal, because you give up the personal conception of God. First of all, God has to have everything. He has to be personal and impersonal because he's the complete whole. And if you just accept the impersonal, then you lose the personal. But if you accept the personal, then you also get the impersonal. And people don't know that. And therefore, Prabhupada says in the invocation to the Sri Upanishad, all forms of incompleteness are due to incomplete knowledge of the complete whole. That's why we have Bhagavad Gita as it is, and we have the Srimad Bhagavatam. And oftentimes people who have incomplete knowledge come in contact with the Bhagavad Gita as it is, and the teachings of the Parampara, which are authorized and are the means for accepting the full knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then they're able to rise to the level of understanding the personality of Godhead. And when it gets into the details of who comes from whom, then one has to have association with pure devotees. For instance, in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, we have notably the 6 Goswamis and their literatures. As is mentioned in the first canto, second chapter, Tachchadadhana munayo jnana vairagya yuktaya pashyanti atmani chatmanam bhakti shruta grihitaya. In order to be solidly situated in what Sutta is describing as pure unmotivated devotional service, you have to be fortified, and you have to have heard properly from the right sources. And when we hear, for instance, from Srila Rupa Goswami describing the ultimate vision of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the enjoyer of rasa, then we can enumerate the various qualities as he does. If you read in Nectar Devotion, Narayan has so many qualities, but Krishna has qualities that Narayan doesn't. And those include a lot of fun stuff. If you want to be bored out of your mind, go to Vaikuntha. No, I'm just kidding. Krishna has, Allah Prabodhananda Saraswati says, forget about it. All this other stuff, it's Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the deity for the Paramahamsas who want to relish Radha Krishna, and they go through him to understand separation, meeting, and the details. It's all in the details and in the variety of loving exchanges that one has with the Lord. So Krishna, although he's Narayan himself, there's no difference. And Prabhupada resisted this argument oftentimes when it came up in public. People say, what about Narayan Krishna? He said, same thing. No difference. Because some people don't have the context to understand it. They don't have the proper association or sadhana to understand the nectar of devotion. There's a lifestyle that goes with it. Tachchadadhana muneyo jnana vairagya yuktaya. You have to be fortified with jnana vairagya in association of devotees. Then you can start to appreciate the value of the subtleties of the philosophy. In Srimad Bhagavatam, for instance, we get to understand how the devotees appreciate that they are liberated by dint of vilas. Yet pada pankacha palasa vilasya bhakta. The vilas means that there's a sense for the aesthetic of the spiritual world. And that one enters into that. That's the only thing that satisfies us. As the commentators quoted here, Naishkarmyam apyachuta bhava varjitam nashobhate jnanam alam niranjanam. If you don't have a chuta bhava, you don't have enough fuel to get out of the varieties of the material world. You'll fall back down into it. And that vilas has to do with Krishna's exchanges with his devotees. So Narayan has a way of exchanging loving dealings with his devotees in a sense of duty and being very official towards worshiping God. When Gopal Kumar goes to the Vaikuntha planets, I have to see you a little more, because I'm sorry. You don't have to, just you move that way just a little bit, Abai. Don't move. Narayan himself is beholden to his most pure devotee, to the devotees who are most pure, and it's borne out in that section that Narayan himself can't resist the flavor of the love of Gopal Kumar when he comes into Vaikuntha. And Narayan then starts manifesting 2 arms and a flute, and like everyone's, wait, what's going on with this guy here? And Narada pulls him aside, him meaning Gopal Kumar, and says, you're really fortunate. Don't think you're just an oddball here. You actually belong to a different realm. Even Uttara had intuited from the discussion with Parikshit Maharaj and from hearing what she had already heard, that there is a certain kind of devotee who's imbued with a kind of love that must correspond with a realm that is beyond Vaikuntha. That's spiritual intelligence. Goloka namni nijadamni taleta tasya Devi Mahesha Haridham Suteshu Teshu Te Te Prabhava Nichayavi Hitaschayena Govindamadi Purusham Tahamaham. There's a hierarchy. And the topmost, according to the Brahma Samhita, is Goloka. What does that correspond with? The mood of the devotees. They want to worship Krishna in unceremonious love, just like you do with those you love most intimately, like your friends. With your friends, you joke around with them, right? We know you do. Of course, you become a lot more serious and stoic, but you joke around with your friends. I have friends that, devotee godbrothers friends, that we cut each other down, and we laugh our heads off because it's so funny. I call him that, he calls me this, and it's know what you're talking about. And it's a deeper connection. And Krishna has his own life in Goloka, intuited, or someplace, intuited Uttara. She said, because I see devotees that have a very different mood. So based on the moods of devotees and the way Krishna reciprocates love with those devotees who want to be more intimate with him, Rupa Goswami points out that Narayan, Krishna, same thing. It's just that there's more available. In a discussion with Vyankata Bhatta, when he was traveling in South India, this discussion came up, Narayan, Krishna. Of course, if you're in South India, it's very like, even people wrote me, and Sukeshwari complained, why are we doing Prushukta? And one of my friends wrote me, like, what's up, Vaisha, Prushukta? Until Mukharvinda saved us and from that purport. But it's the mood there, Vyankata Bhatta, Ramanujacharya, 2.5 hours in the Sandhya to put on your tilak, and so forth. There's a different mood in some realms. And Krishna and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking to Vyankata Bhatta half jokingly. It was a very respectful relationship, but also in a lighthearted way. He was saying, so, this thing you got going on down here with Lakshmi Narayan, what's this all about? I think, and then he says, so why is it that your Lakshmi-ji wanted to enter into the rasa dance? Well, what was that all about? I mean, Krishna and Narayan, same thing, but she was attracted to Krishna. And there's no harm, same person, not leaving her husband or in any way, but just she wanted that mood. And she couldn't enter. Her Abhiman she was attached to the awe, reverence mood of worshiping Narayan. After all, she's Lakshmi-ji. And Vyankata Bhatta was submissive to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hearing all this. And Mahaprabhu quoted, Nayam sukhapo bhagavan dehinam gopika sutta, jnaninam chatmabhutanam yata bhakti matam Yata bhakti matam iha. That bhakti is the only way to enter that mood that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to teach, which we all know. Anarpita charim chirat karuna yavatirana kalau samarpayutuno tojvara rasam sabhakti shriyam hari purata sundara dyuti katamba sandipita sadaraya kandare spuratu vasachinandana. God himself wanted everybody to know there's something more than Vaikuntha. And as he thought, I've never taught this. Narpita, I can't remember when we talked about this before, when I made it available to people. And there was a confluence of reasons that Krishna himself wanted to come for his own internal reasons. And externally, he also wanted people to know about a kind of love that's in the realm of beyond Vaikuntha, where devotees worship Krishna through spontaneous love. And there's a path to follow, the Raganuga. You can follow in the footsteps of those who are on that level by associating with pure devotees and become enamored of that, and that becomes your preoccupation. And that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to teach. So there he was in South India, and he was teaching Vyankata, a great personage in his own right, and a great devotee of Lord Narayan, that Nayam Sukha Bhagavan Dehinam Gopika Sutta. He's mentioning Yashoda. Yashoda, who had this motherly love towards Krishna, the Vatsalya Ras, when we were just recently at Brahmanda Ghat. And remembering what took place there when Krishna was playing with his friends, and they came to Yashoda and they said, Krishna ate dirt. We saw him do it. And Yashoda was alarmed, and she called Krishna and said, how many times have I told you, be careful, don't do this, why are you eating dirt? He said, me eating dirt? Who said I ate dirt? He said, oh, my friend, and Balaram, he also confirmed it. Your brother, your older brother said you did it. They're lying. They're liars. What kind of, you don't see that in Vaikuntha. And that's what he was saying, that Nayam Sukapa Bhagavan Dehinam Gopika Sutta, that there's a kind of love there in the topmost region of the spiritual world. It's what God likes the most, he said, because Yata Bhakti Matamiha, it's only by that mood that one can actually capture Krishna. And that's why Srimad Bhagavatam's spilling the beans. It's coming out and is that Dharma Projita Kaitavo. This is beyond all other cheating religions, Dharma Artha Karma Moksha, and then it goes into Swadhya Hridya Varudyate Trakritibi Shushrushabhish Takshanat. There's a way in which, by understanding this very rare kind of love that is unceremonious, there in the topmost region of the spiritual world, then Krishna becomes so attracted, he wants to stay in your heart because you're hearing it, and he becomes conquered by that. That jnana prayasa udapasya namanta eva jivanti san mukaridham pavadiyavartam stane stita shrutikatam tanuvan manobir I prayaso jita jito pyasitaishri loka. Brahma says it. If you want the perfection in devotion of life, forget speculating about it. Just hear Srimad Bhagavatam, stane stita shrutikatam tanuvan manobir, and worship that vibration with your body, mind, and words. And then there's a natural way in which you'll be able to enter into that mood, so much so that Krishna will be attracted to you. You'll conquer Krishna by that mood. So by logic, Prabhupada mentions at 2:235 in the Bhagavatam, you know the verse that ends with Anumapakai? He said God isn't just Paramatma, because that's his, what do you call his side job, his day job? Don't quit your day job. Taking care of a few jivas. We're like, all right, what do you want? Go ahead. But he said, logically, God means he has unlimited access to, and has his own way of loving. There must be a realm where he has unlimited and ever-deepening relationships with his devotees. It's based on that overall understanding that Lord Chaitanya came to teach, and he does it systematically. If you read all the teachings of Lord Chaitanya to Rupa Goswami and then Sanatana Goswami, and then you read the books of the Goswamis like the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, then you understand that this distinction between Krishna and Narayan, it's not some mathematical equation. It's like you try to figure it out. Because you may look at some portions of Bhagavatam, for instance, when that Brahmana had lost his sons and he was blaming King Ugrasena. Remember that? And finally Arjuna said, even Lord Shiva respects me, I'm going to get him back. And then finally he failed, and then Krishna came and said, look, I'll show you where they are. And he took him into the realm of Mahavishnu. And then when they got there, Krishna and Arjuna, Mahavishnu was like, yeah, I stole him because I wanted to see you. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur points out that, yeah, even Narayan wants to see Krishna. In fact, when we see Krishna in Dwarka and other places, he'll see himself in a mirror and become attracted to his own image. And the most attractive, as the case is made, is when he's completely submissive to his devotees. And when there's unlimited access to him. Like in Vrindavan at Govardhan Leela, when he lifts Govardhan Hill, everyone's with him for 7 days, 24/7, unabated access. In Vaikuntha, so based on the logic of rasa, Krishna is said to be the origin of Narayan, but they're the same person, just in different moods, that's all. And if somebody's attracted to Lord Narayan, then Lord Chaitanya facilitates everyone. If they want to worship Sita, Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman, so that's their inclination, the doorway is through Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Are you going to say all that next time somebody asks you? You should. Yeah, because you have access to it. Prabhupada gave us all the information to come to the point of tasmad ekena manasa, of where to place our attention. And it's all assumed within the chanting of Hare Krishna, in the proper mood, without offenses. And if you can do that, then everything becomes revealed. And especially because we have association with all the acharyas in the disciplic succession who are our protectors. If we take shelter of the books and the chanting of Hare Krishna, then Teisham satata yuktanam, bhajatam priti purvakam. Krishna will reveal in our hearts not only who he is, but also what our relationship is with him. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, by chanting Hare Krishna, the holy name takes me by the hand. Imagine that? Chanting Hare Krishna and holy name personified takes him by the hand and leads him to his love dalliance and his relationship in the spiritual world. That's what we all want. It's a bishta doham. Okay, Abai? All right. What's that? Vaikuntha Nayaka? Oh, something on here? Okay, here and then Vaikuntha Nayaka, because he missed out last time and he's been regretting it ever since, I can tell.
This is from Sudhir Madhav, Prabhu.
Sudhir Madhav?
Yeah, he's stationed in Pune for now. So may I read it?
Yes, please.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. The sequence of approaching the Lord mentioned at the end of the purport, is that a standard one? Incidentally, I met a person today who shared that before he was inclined towards Lord Ramchandra, but now to Lord Narayan. Thank you very much, Dasasmi.
What's the sequence at the end? He said one must... It's in the verse itself that it says, Tanmayatam Buddha, the Buddha, intelligent Buddha, abhijat, must worship. Tam, him, the Lord, bhaktyika, with direct, very one-pointed devotion. Bhaktyika yesham, Guru Devatatma. One should accept the spiritual master. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta comments that person should be Nandanandana Shrestha. Means that the mood of the disciplic session is very important. If you go by Veda base or something like that, you may not get the whole thing, but if you can take the mood of Nandanandana Shrestha that comes down through the disciplic succession from the pure devotees and those who are following the pure devotees, then you can also imbibe that mood, because as living beings, we're really good at imbibing things. Thank you. Hare Krishna. That's what we do. When we associate, we take on the mood. So that's why we close ranks a little bit here and then invite people in an atmosphere that's carefully maintained to follow the mood of Nandanandana Shrestha. And when we have that, then we specifically become devotees of Krishna as Nandanandana. And Lord Chaitanya wanted that. Remember when he was speaking about the members of the residents of Kulia Gram? And in Nandanandana More Pranath. Nandanandana Krishna More Pranath is a verse from the Sri Krishna Vijay, from an author from bygone ages. It was an imperfectly composed book. It had sonnets and so forth in it that didn't have the right number of syllables and things like that. But Lord Chaitanya said, because he has written in this book, Nandanandana Krishna More Pranath, he said, not only him, but everybody in his village is dear to me. Because that book showed up here and he lived here. Not only any dogs here, they're also dear to me. More Pranath, because he said, Nandanandana Krishna is my life and soul. That's the mood that comes down, Nandanandana Shrestha, that we get when you hear Prabhupada sing Jai Radha Madhava. And when it's the flavor. And where else are you going to get that? I mean, some say, oh, I'll go to a concert, people singing Hare Krishna, but it's, they're not really devotees. No harm, it's just Hare Krishna. No, there's harm. Because you're missing out. Not only missing out, you'll be, boy, I hate to use anything really strong here. I have to be careful what to say. I'll just say, Avaishnava Mukund Gun Giranam Putam Harikatam Ritam Shravananaiva Kartavyam Sarpo Chista Yatapaya. Well, that's pretty heavy. Snake got into the milk last night. You want some? So what it means is the vibration of the crowd, those who are imbibing the mood of the person who's singing or leading or teaching or saying, that's important. Nandanandana Shrestha. If you don't swoon when you go to Vrindavan and see Nanda Maharaj's palace on the hill, if there isn't something that hits your heart, where you go, oh my God, Krishna lives here. Right? If you don't go to Govardhan Hill and it's like, let me out of the car, I'm just going to walk with these people. If you don't thrill when you hear them singing folk songs to Krishna all night long, walking around Govardhan Hill, well, let's just say you do. It means because you've got Nandanandana Shrestha association. It's the flavor of our disciplic session coming down from Madhavendra Puri and then through our great acharyas, Srila Ishvara Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Goswamis. We have all that. Nandanandana Shrestha. It's in Prabhupada's books. If you just pick them up, you'll have it all over you. It's dripping with it. That's why if you touch somebody with a book, it's like, what is this? Can you imagine how somebody's going to comprehend Nandanandana Shrestha all of a sudden, walking down the street, going to work? It takes a little association with devotees who are steeped in it because they're following pure devotees, and therefore they're getting the same result. Bejare munayotagre bhagavantam adhoksajam sattvam vishuddham shemaya kalpante yenutaniha. Okay, that was that. Now we have Vaikuntha Prabhu.
He says
From,
thank you.
what?
He sends his thanks.
Oh, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Sudhir.
Dandavat Pranam, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Gurudev. All the Srila Prabhupada, all the best to you. Maharaj, I had this question on this, since the shloka talked about fear, and it said that the cause of fear is misidentification, right? And there are so many types of misidentifications. I misidentify myself as the body, even though so many times I have read that I am the soul. I misidentify that this house belongs to me, even though I have read that Krishna is the proprietor. So first part of question was that how do I go beyond theoretical knowledge, and how do I truly absorb it all this with conviction? And the second part was I needed your confirmation about my understanding, that I thought that Krishna orchestrates troubles in our lives to turn our theoretical knowledge into actual realizations. For example, Krishna might give me a legal problem to help me introspect how much I am really detached from my material possessions, right? So, so is this correct understanding that these problems in the life of a devotee are like kind of like a rite of passage to turn theoretical knowledge into conviction? And if it is correct, this process seems very painful. Is there some simpler way to escape material problems and yet get conviction beyond theoretical knowledge? Thank
Well, I
you.
saw a bumper sticker that said, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. So whatever trouble we think we're experiencing here, juxtaposed with our practice of devotional service, vidyam cha yastad vedo bayam saha, avidya yamratum tirtva vidya yamratum ashnute, is a important aspect of our devotional service, and we'll get through it. It's altogether possible to go through the different phases of life and experience the tribulations of separation from loved ones and legal problems. Each time we encounter such heartbreak or reversals of fortune or onerous difficulties, and we process it through Bhagavad Gita. We take shelter of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam again and again, and then we're tolerant. There's a fruit at the end. How else do you become wise except for going through life? In fact, old people are supposed to be wise. And to a great degree they are, just by dint of getting old. I was just noticing that I'm getting old. That's one thing. And another thing was, one of the ways I'm noticing is the iconic figures of my time. I mean, you guys knew Shatrugna Singh, and I didn't. He's 85 now. I had no idea who he was, but he was a nice guy. And I know all these movie stars and musicians from my childhood. And then when I see them rotting on the vine, basically, and growing old, losing their memories and so forth, then it has a strong influence to see, oh, the time factor is really working, and hopefully as one grows older, one has this sense of, yeah, we're all just passing through here. When you're young, it's harder to have that type of vision. And so that happens somewhat naturally for anybody in this world. By Krishna's arrangement, he gave us two good eyes to see what's going on. And unless we're so obstinate we don't want to see that and we block it out, then we do get some wisdom. What to speak of if whatever happens to you, whatever legal problem. I've had legal problems in my management of ISKCON properties. In fact, you would, if you get involved more in the executive branch of ISKCON, you'll realize that there's always legal problems going on. In fact, one of the busiest people in ISKCON is somebody nobody knows, but I know him, and I talk to him all the time. I've worked with him on legal problems, and he's always engaged 24/7 in legal problems. And once there's some problem, we view it through the eyes of Shastra. And as you've heard me say so many times, it's now ad nauseum, but once when I had a a legal problem in managing, and it was something that kept me up at night. I consulted godbrothers, and one of my godbrothers, Ritutvaj Swami, so kindly 2 days later sent me a verse, said, Vaish, I think this might help. And he sent me a verse from Prithu Maharaj, who definitely had a problem, Indra. He was trying to do his duty and perform this 100th horse sacrifice, and Indra kept stealing the sacrificial horse and pretending he was a sannyasi. It was ludicrous and outrageous and very disappointing to Prithu Maharaj, and he became angry. He wanted to kill Indra. Sages, those who were performing the yajna said, don't do it. It'll contaminate the yajna. We'll do it for you. Then Brahma intervened, and he came and said, wait, everybody, hold it. It's Indra. You can't kill him. And besides, why don't you just tolerate it? Because that's providential. And Prithu Maharaj said, okay, I'll tolerate. And he made up with Indra, actually. And Indra kind of apologized, like he usually does. And so there's a way, when I read that, I felt relief. Where else are you going to get relief except from the Bhagavad Gita or the Bhagavatam? Actually felt relief. And it wasn't theoretical. It was visceral. I couldn't sleep, and then I could. That's proof that it's not theoretical. And I came to a point of realizing that I have to tolerate this and take step by step. I think maybe that's when I invented for myself this mantra of be methodical but dispassionate. I just keep saying it over and over again. That's what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. And that's what problems are for. They're for following the instructions of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. If you wondered why you get problems. It's so Krishna, it's like you go to a class and you sit down, and then the teacher hands out all the papers on the desk and says, put away everything, get out a number 2 pencil. Have you ever heard that before? Yeah. And that's what Krishna does for us, Vaikuntha Nayaka Prabhu. He says, okay, you sit down. Here's your problem for the day. Take out a number 2 pencil, put away all your other stuff. Let's see how you're going to do now. So what you said was true. And it actually works when we follow Krishna's instruction. For instance, Occam's razor. The simplest solution is the best. Fewer assumptions, and it's direct. So Prabhupada in a lecture says, when you lose a loved one, it's inevitable that you'll feel overwhelmed. Heaviness of heart. Yes or yes? And so there's a way in which Prabhupada says, what are you going to do? You're going to bring them back? Your mind keeps thinking like, can't we revive them or something like that? And what about the old days when they were here? And what should we do? Prabhupada says there's only one solution. You know what it is? Tolerate. And I first heard that, I thought, that's it? Well, try it and see what happens. And if you tolerate, there's a fruit at the end because you become wise. And you see, as one of my friends always says, observing the events of the world, as absurd as many of them are, and it says, the jagat is on the move. And whatever you think you have now, it's going to go sideways. Guaranteed. You think you have something, you'll come out one day and it's at the top of the roof and it's dripping down, it's melted or it's burnt or it's sideways, whatever you think you have here. And that's a lesson. The whole material world is not our home. And fortunately, we have a place to repose our affection and our real possessions. As Kapila Dev says, in one astounding verse, he said the assets you get from your practice of devotional service are never lost. They're never lost. Those are yours to keep. And all the assets you acquire here in the material world, as soon as you acquire them, then they become burdensome because you're wondering, when am I going to lose these, right? Say yes. So if you're getting troubles, Vaikuntha Nayaka there in Mysore, and you go on reading Bhagavad Gita and chanting your rounds and doing your programs at your house and have a little Mysore pack Just a little, not too much. You got a successful life, and those are lessons you can pass on to others. And those who categorically, they understand categorically the material world's a lost cause. But I can engage everything here in Krishna service. They have no problems, because every circumstances and all paraphernalia of the material world is there to engage in Lord Chaitanya's mission. And any problem that comes up, if you're used to solving problems through the Bhagavad Gita, you develop a sense that I don't know how it's going to get solved, but I know it will, because I'm going to follow Lord Chaitanya. And if it doesn't, at least I followed Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya, and you become unassailable in your character because you're just following Krishna, and you have no vested interest in the material world. That's the problem, when you have a vested interest in the material world. Okay, there's just a few more minutes for a question. There was Tadiya Seva. Where are you? I know, but you're usually back here. But we can still only see half of you, so go ahead, Prabhu.
Raj, my question is regarding Ratha. In this material world, we see some kind of rasa between friends, between father and parents and children, and sometimes between husband and wife, and so on. Right? So in the spiritual world, we are, Lord Chaitanya is guaranteeing that we'll attain that stage of love of Godhead, and will be able to enjoy different kinds of rasas. When I see our acharyas, especially, that is there in the spiritual world, in the material world itself I'm talking, like Bhakti Vinod Thakur or Srila Prabhupada chanting, or maybe Jagannath Das Babaji or his spiritual master, or in the disciplic succession. Can we conclude that they are, when they are chanting the holy name of the Lord, they are experiencing that rasa, and it's not a burden anymore. The chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not a burden, but it's a blissful experience, and they're enjoying some kind of a rasa in their hearts.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we should chant until we hear the Maha Mantra in a way that I've never heard anything like this. If it starts to pique our interest and our mind starts going towards it and say, what was that? Can I hear that again? What was that? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And we could notice in ourselves, Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj last year gave a class in Mayapur, and he was talking about, it was homeopathic point he made, because apparently the more diluted the element is that's curative, the more potency it has. I have no idea how that works exactly, but there's a way in his class he was talking about going to the morning program, finishing his 16 rounds, and then he said, I feel better. And I thought, that's it? That's all you're going to say? You didn't roll on the ground and cry or something like that? And he said, no, I feel better. And then I started thinking about that homeopathic dose he gave, and I thought, yeah, it's impossible to feel better in this world. There's always some confrontation with the mind dealing with the next thing and the next thing. And you never feel better. There's only one thing that can make you feel better, and that's Krishna. And our Bhakyaika Yesham Guru Devatatma, follow your guru, follow disciplic succession, and take the prescription and think of Krishna, chant Hare Krishna. And what will you feel when you finish your rounds? You'll feel better. And I guarantee you, nobody feels better. You can read 1 million self-help books, or nowadays listen to all the tapes. and you're definitely not going to feel better. You'll get a little sugar high off it, and you'll think, yeah, I'm going to get my scene together now. and then later on, same old problems. But if you chant Hare Krishna and you hear something beautiful, or even if you don't hear something beautiful, afterwards you feel, I'm improved. I feel better. The world looks clearer to me. Any sense of that elevation, it comes from the holy name. That's just the tiniest of glimpses. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, for our benefit, expresses what he feels when he chants Hare Krishna. It's in the last verse of the Sharanagati. Don't read that verse. As our godbrother Urjaswat used to say, Prabhu, don't read that verse. Your mind take off on you like a chickpea hit with a baseball bat. Because he talks in there how he said, I can't understand what Krishna's doing to me. He said, my body is soaked with perspiration. He said, I'm shattered with emotion. And if you read the symptoms of what somebody's going through, and then understand, this is the gift Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us. It's the holy name imbued with this mood of Nandanandana Shrestha. And if we chant in the Association of Pure Devotees and read Prabhupada's books while we're chanting, to get that orientation towards Nandanandana. More Pran-nath, he's my life and soul. Vrindavan is my home. I go to Jagannath Puri to experience the oceanic feelings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Gambhira. I go to Mayapur to experience the Anandam Buddhivardhanam that comes from chanting Hare Krishna. An ordinary kid from anywhere can be enveloped by this mood of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu coming to the disciplic session, set up as an organization so that everyone can have access to it. Forget all the faults, just enter into the nectar of what's available through this fire hose coming from the spiritual world, and just bathe in it and take advantage while you can, and you'll be able to experience it in this lifetime, because krame, Lord Chaitanya says, if you start off as an insignificant little jiva and you just take the process, you're no longer ordinary. Evam vrata swapriya namakirta. If you vow into this process, that's a weird phrase, but I like it. There's a way in which you're not ordinary anymore. You become one of Krishna's intimate devotees by dint of your being a servant of the servant of the servant of the servant, and you can actually go back to the spiritual world in this very lifetime. 1 minute left. I have a quick question. Yes, I know, but we still have 2 grain ceremonies to do. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I'm just with all the talk on the process working and the potency of Harinam and Harinam holding your hand, and anybody, even a child like you mentioned from the street, can benefit from it. I'm so inspired to share a story which I shared with Kameshwari Mataji. So just 2 weeks ago I'll try to make it really quick. 2 weeks ago I went for hiking with my best friend in Hawaii. We were there to attend a wedding. I have known her for like 28 years. We did engineering together. So she's very close to me. And as we were hiking, I've hiked in snow, rain, fog, everything. And just that day, it was rainy, slippery. And as we were hiking, I was behind her. I fell and I hit my head and I got a concussion.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And when I sat up, I didn't pass out, thankfully. But when I sat up, I I was like, why are we here? She said, where are we? So she goes, oh, remember we in Hawaii? And I'm like, why are we in Hawaii? Where are the kids? She said, remember, it's just you and I that came here. So I said, okay. And then by that time I realized like, oh, I can't remember why these plants are here. And I was like totally delusional. So she said, okay, what do you remember? I said, I remember Krishna and I have 2 kids. And then she said, what are their names? I say their name, Arjun and Ryan. And then she said, where do you work and things like that to get me back to it. And then she was like, okay, I start crying because I'm like, I can't remember things. So I start crying, and then she gets on act because she's a very focused person. So she just slaps me out into reality because her goal was to take me back to the car and take me to urgent care. So then I get up, she said, no, we have to walk back to the car. So I wipe my tears and I start walking. And then she said, I don't remember any of this. Like, I don't remember driving up to the mountain because I drove up. And I don't remember the whole hike. She sent me pictures. I'm like, okay, that happened. And then she was like, when we start walking, I chant Hare Krishna whole time. And I don't remember that. And then when I was normal and she told me all this happened, I held her hand and I said, thank you for sharing this with me. And she was traumatized too, so she was like, I don't want to talk about it, you know. So I was like, I shared with my Guru Maharaj too that the process works, like what Srila Prabhupada has given us works, because I don't consider myself like an advanced devotee, like all ISV devotees, like the service they do, the way they go out of the way to host me. So thank you, Kameshwari and Shraddhama and everybody who hosts me. So I wanted to share that, you know, like that told me that the process works. Like and Priya Gopika, my sister, said that, you know, that could have been your last moment. So I'm glad you remembered Krishna. I said, I did not remember Krishna. Krishna helped me remember him. So we are at his mercy and Guru's mercy. So I just got so inspired to share. So thank you for giving me this time.
Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev, if you so desire, please instill in us the seed of desire for unmotivated, uninterrupted devotional service to your lotus feet. Please empower us to spread the Sankirtan movement as servants of the servants of the servants. Please let us be kind and generous and engaged in loving exchanges with all the devotees, here, there, and everywhere. And also, please let us be compassionate to all living beings, knowing that they got hit on the head and they can't remember you. And please let us revive our memory and theirs by widely distributing the holy name and transcendental literature in every language of the world. Anything else you want to add? Please beat Mayapur. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with these prayers in whole or in part. Please unmute and say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, we have a couple of quick announcements, and then we're going to have the main event of the day, which is the grain ceremony for 2 little babies. First announcement comes from Bhakti Community. Come on up here and tell us what we've won. OMG. Okay. Okay. Ready for announcements? Okay.
Hare Krishna. As you all know, Bhakti Community is an online community. We also do in-person programs. I just want to share one quick story about Arabic Sankirtan. So that's really working because the devotees invited somebody to our program from Arabic Sankirtan. There's one person from Iran. And
that's Farsi. Just saying.
Sorry? What?
She speaks Farsi, not
Farsi,
Arabic.
yeah. She speaks Farsi. She got Farsi books and she came to our online programs. She is regularly coming to our home programs, and she is also cooking for us, and she brings food when she comes, and everybody eats that food. So it really works. We are creating a community where everybody feels welcomed, no judgment, no past baggage that we have with anybody. So please invite newcomers, and we are happy to help them out. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Last night at the Mantra Zone, we were having a kirtan at the end, and what's her name? Hashti? Hashti. I handed her the microphone during the kirtan, and she chanted so nicely. Her second part of the mantra was charmingly, slightly different. She was saying Hara Rama, maybe to match the A and the A. But I had this overwhelming sense of the power of the mantra when she was chanting with so much enthusiasm. And when new people come to Krishna consciousness, they enliven all of us, because there's a way in which when we see in them their enthusiasm to chant, we go, oh, I wish I had that same mood. Thank you for organizing here, there, and everywhere, all over the Bay Area. Get ready, everyone, because it's exploding. I mean, there's centers, you can't throw an avocado in any direction and not hit a preaching program here in the Bay Area. So get ready, because there's so much facilitation, mentoring, resources, and everything you ever wanted is going to come to pass here right here in the nucleus and spread all over the Bay Area, and you'll be fully engaged in devotional service 24/7. We guarantee it. Hare Krishna. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna. For our MSF of Be a Gardener, this is the last weekend before we can offer the results to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on this Thursday. Our goal is to distribute at least 275 Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita sets, and we are really inching towards our goal. So we would like to request everyone to use this weekend as a last opportunity to distribute as many tens of sets of Chaitanya Charitamrita as you can. And I just wanted to share one quick story that when we went to Dublin last week, Achyuta Kumar Prabhu, he kindly drove us there. And there is one lady who got a Srimad Bhagavatam set previously, and not knowing anything, she heard about this, and she was pregnant at that time. She heard about this group of pregnant ladies reading Bhagavatam group. She joined unknowingly. She read the entire Bhagavatam translations during her pregnancy, no association. And then she lives somewhere in Tracy area. And then she met the devotees, and you can see that something sprung in her heart. She came, what do you have? And we said, we have Chaitanya Charitamrita and Bhagavatam. I have the Bhagavatam, and she told the story. And she said, I don't have this, can I have that? Generally, we have to convince them to take, but I want to have this. And then she said, and then we talked about how we can have a program in her house. She says, I'll host programs. Please let me know how I can participate in your group. She was so hungry. Just by the touch of reading Srimad Bhagavatam for a little while, and she is so amazing. So many souls we meet like that. Great opportunity when you go out on book distribution. And last week also, just one store we just went to, and we did 23 sets of Chaitanya Charitamrita at one place, and many others, devotees did many sets everywhere in the Bay Area. So please join us. Hare Krishna.
Okay, now tell about your Harinam program.
Hare Krishna. Yes, we've heard so much about the potency of the holy name today, so we'll be going to Dolores Park. We're doing a big kirtan in the park with Janavi Harrison, so please join if you can. We're going to be distributing books. We're going to have some light prasadam for everybody also, so it'll be great. Thank you.
Where's Akshar Nitaya, one of the leaders of the taking care of the temple team? Who's on that team? Where's Rajaras Bhavana? You want to say something about the organization?
Hare Krishna. So we're launching a kitchen cleaning marathon over here. If you, by Nrsinga Chaturdasi, if you earn 5 points for cleaning in the kitchen, you will get a very special gift at the end of it. And so we're trying to engage as many devotees as possible in this. And if you also are interested in joining a weekly team so that you have a dedicated team that you're a part of, feel free to fill out the form that was sent out on the WhatsApp group. We'll send another reminder today. So please do join us. And today there's also Maha Cleaning from 11 to 3 p.m. And so please do help out in the kitchen and also around the temple. Hare Krishna.
Hold on. Give him a round. Hold on. Not you. Him. Okay, now tell us how it's going with the science research.
Hare Krishna. So on the scientific think tank side, we've had a couple of different projects working on it. In the last couple of months, though, we've had a little slowdown, but we finished a lot of research, and we're in the process of writing 5 articles on different topics. One is human history, where we talk about the chronology and also the parallels between Vedic history and our own modern history. Another one is on nutrition. What is the importance of vegetarianism? Does it matter, and how does that connect to our own shastras? And then there's another one on whether God exists. All of you probably know if you're here in ISV, but this is for in general to give out to others, like either in book distribution or to your friends and so on, in a way that is very accessible to them. Another project that we have is on the transmigration of the soul. How does a soul move from one body to another? And so we have, in this way, many different projects as a team of 19 devotees working on this. And if you're also interested in that, feel free to join.
Anapayani? That's not it. I want you to tell about Youth Jam. How's it going?
Youth Jam is going well. Today we have a special seminar about bhakti lessons from the world around us. So if you know any youth that aren't from here or may be interested, and the youth here, please join today at 3 p.m.
What is Youth Jam anyway, and what was it like last week?
Youth Jam is a program where we read Shastra, have engaging discussions, and meet other youth across the world. So this last week we had a group of youth from Chicago, Naperville community join us, and we read Bhagavad Gita chapter 7, and I'm forgetting.
Prabhupada Lilamrita,
yeah,
I think.
and Lilamrita as well.
How does it feel in that environment? And are you noticing any benefits from young people coming together for Youth Jam, Youth Yatra, any of that kind of stuff? What's the youth movement? What's it looking like? How's it shaping up?
I think the excitement is contagious. So even seeing like the newcomers join and how much they were appreciating us, I felt like we had the same appreciation for them. And it just builds in this nice, safe space, which allows us to feel more enthusiasm in our devotional service.
Thank you. I especially noticed Anapayani Bhakti, Rajras Bhavana have been front and center with you, Cham, keeping it going. Do you want to read your names too?
Today's prasadam was cooked by Hansa Priya Mataji, Malai Prabhu, and Sriji Priya Mataji.
What else? More announcements? Anyone? Great opportunity, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself set the example of cleaning the mandir at Gunicha. He went there and he told the temple commander, we want all cleaning supplies, myself and all my followers are going to clean it. And the custodian there objected. He said, my lord, you're a Supreme Personality of Godhead, you shouldn't be cleaning. And we'll do it. And Mahaprabhu insisted. He said, no, we want to clean the Lord's temple. We stole from Prataparudra Maharaj, who humbled himself to come sweep the road. Kings don't do that. And when he did that, he got the favor of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from his humble endeavor of cleaning the pathway before the Rath Yatra cart. So it's a leela of the Lord to clean the temple. It's one of the most fun activities you can have. Spend a marked number of minutes or a half hour or an hour or 2 hours, whatever you can spare to help clean the temple today. And you'll cleanse your heart simultaneously from that. It helps us get ready for the festival. Because when we walk in for the festival, or whoever visits, we're doing it so people can come here and experience. We want them to experience this sense of Shuddha Sattva when they walk in. There's not one thing out of place. There's not one speck of dust anywhere. We want to please the Lord, so everyone who comes here can feel what it's like to enter into the spiritual world. Is that good? Okay. Any other points? Now we have a double header. I don't know if you have those in cricket. We only have them in baseball, maybe. But 2 games in one. We got 2 grain ceremonies this morning. So it's going to be wild and woolly. So get ready for a double-header grain ceremony coming up. And 3-4 minutes. Are the babies here? We have a baby. Let's see the baby. We want proof, visual proof. There's the baby. She's all dressed up. Yeah. Good-looking baby, by the way. And is there another baby? We need visual proof. Where's the baby? Bring on the babies. Oh, look at that baby. Okay. So what we're going to do, for those of you who are eager for some transcendental entertainment, you can turn towards the deities, and we're going to set up for the ceremony right in the front row. So if you're in the front row, you can move back just a little bit. And we're going to have a little kirtan to start with, and then we'll commence the grain ceremony. Vanchakalptarishta kripasindhabe vachapatitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha nantakoti vaishnavinigi jai gaur premanande haribo. Kirtan.
Can we just start? I don't know. I'm just... Okay, I'll figure it out. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Hare. Welcome, Omkar, Om Shankar Prabhu, Jigisha, and Adrit. Hare Krishna. He looks ready. Okay. Indushekar, Pratibha, Gaurangi. I noted that we have Sri Lagu Bhagavatamrita here today. We have Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Leela and Krishna book. Something's going on here. That's by divine arrangement. It means they're very lofty subjects. And on the other side, we have a huge pile of gold, cash, jewels. What else is there? Grains. Okay, for those who want to join our farm ashram program. Today is a ceremony which is dear to the hearts of the devotees because Krishna says, Aham Vaishva Naro Bhutva, that I am the fire of digestion within the stomachs of all living beings. He's so kind that not only does he provide us with foodstuff, anna, but he also digests it for us. And thus, not only do we enjoy life, Gaurangi's paying attention. Really, she is. But we also worship the Lord by honoring prasadam. And today, we have the great honor and pleasure of offering the first grains to these very fortunate souls who have come into the devotional fold by dint of their past activities engaging in devotional service. So they've come into a very rarefied atmosphere of the vibration of the holy names and the Srimad Bhagavatam and so forth. And it's befitting that, although it's not specifically on their agenda, because of all of you parents who are vigilant to see that your precious devotional children have the opportunity to be always in contact with Krishna. This grain ceremony is a kind of visceral and very deep remembrance of Krishna and the practical ways in which he's with us at every moment. And this is something that is recorded in the hearts and minds of not just all of us who participate in their grain ceremony, because here at ISV we've done literally hundreds of grain ceremonies, and we always remember back, oh, remember when you took grains and now you just graduated college and so forth? But the children remember it too. It becomes part of their psyche. And that's really the purpose of the Samskar program, which means to make impressions at every step so that one can feel enveloped by Krishna's embrace. So we pray today in this grain ceremony that we may invoke the mercy of Lord Krishna. That's indicative. Everything here that happens during this grain ceremony, we record as part of a way of predicting their future lives. And I would say kirtaniya, or perhaps a great reciter of Bhagavatam around the world. Thank you. Adrit. So now, as we always do, we're going to recite one chapter of Bhagavad Gita together in this occasion to invoke the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purushottam Yoga, Ata Panchadasho Dyayaha. Shri Bhagavan Vacha, Urdvamulam Madah Shakam, Ashvatam Prahuravyayam, Damsi Yasya Parnani, Yastam Veda Savedavi. Adashchodvam prashritas tasya shaka guna pravrida vashaya pravala adashtamulan anusantatani karmanubandini manushaloke narupamasyeha tatopalavyate nanto nachadir nachasampratishta Ashvatamenam suvarudamulam asanga shastrena dridhena chidva tatakpadam tatvarimargitavyam yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuya tameva chadyam purusham prapadye yatak pravriti prashrita purani Anamoha jita sanga dosha Adhyatma nitya vinivritikama Vanveba mukta sukha dukkha samjaya Gachantya ta avyayam tat Nat tat vasa yate shuryo Na shashanko na pavakaha Yad gatva na nivartante Tadama paramam mama Mamaivam sho jiva loke Diva bhuta sanatanaha Manakshashta nindriyani Prakriti stani karshati Shariram yadavapnoti Yachapyukramatishvara Grihitvaitani samyati Vayuragandam vivashaya Shotram chakshusparshanam cha Rasanam granameva cha Adhishtaya manaschayam Vishayanupasevate Ukramantam stitam vapi Unjanam vagunanvitam Vimudhananupashyanti Pashyanti jnana chakshushaha Yatanto yoginaschainam Pashyantyatmanyavastitam Yatanto pyakritatmano Nainam pashyantyachaitasaha Yadaditya gatam tejo Jagadbhasa yate kilam Yachandramasi yachchagnau Tatejo vidimamakam Gama vishya cha bhutani Darayam yaham ojasa Krishnami chausadi sarva Somo bhutva rasadmakaha Aham vaishvanaro bhutva Praninam deham ashritaha Pranapana samayukta Pachamyanam chaturvidam Sarvasya chaham hridisannivishto Mattaksmiti jnanam apohanam cha Vedaishcha sarvya hameva vedyo Vedanta kridveda vedeva chaham Vavimau purusha loke Shadaschakshara eva cha Shara sarvani bhutani Bhutasto shara uchyate Uttama purushastvanya Paramatme tyudarita Yolokatrayam avishya Vibhartavya ishvara Yasmat sharamatitoham Aksharada pichotama Atosmi loke vedecha Patita Purushottama Yo mameva masambudho Janati Purushottamam Tasarva vid bhajati mam Sarva bhavena bharata Iti guyatamam shastram Idam uttam mayanaga Etad bhutva buddhiman syat Krita krita shabharata Om Tat Sariti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Suparishatsu Namavidhyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Sambhare Purushottam Yoga Nama Panchadashodhyayaha Hare Om. And now, if we could have a little kirtan, then we'll be happy. And we'll commence the grain ceremony by asking Gaurangi's closest. So if Gaurangi, would you be willing to come up and take your first grains?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Bapi.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Well, we'll have to say, Garangi, that you had more sweet rice than I've seen anybody. More spoonfuls than at any other grain ceremony. So well done. Hare Krishna. And now let's call Adrit. Adrit, please come on up here. You can continue your discourse and we'll give you some sweet rice. So you can maybe just switch. Yeah, come on over here. Jigisha, Om Shankar, come close. And a little more Harinam.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Yum Yum Bapi.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Well done, Adrit. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Well, records do fall fast because it seems as though Adrit may have done a couple more spoonfuls to hold the new ISV record for sweet rice on first grain ceremony. And now we come to the very scientific method of divining the future proclivities of these beautiful children to see which direction they're going to go as far as varna, ashram, their psychophysiological nature. All is told in this one ceremony, which we'll now enact. From previous experience, we notice it's best if they sit up straight and have access to lean forward, if they can, with a little support, and we'll get a clear idea of their future. So, since you're here in front, then let's start with Adrit. And Adrit, before you have options in your life. You have the road of becoming a pundit and teaching Bhagavatam all over the world, which you seem inclined to already. Kirtan, giving pravachar, and great wealth awaits you also. So please make your choice for the pleasure of your parents and everybody here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Best seated. Okay, that's conclusive. Oh, he'll take it all. Okay, let Let it be known that Adrit has not only embraced the Krishna book, but he's also plundering the wealth as fast as he can. He'll be prolific. Hey, that's pretty good. Whatever you can grab, you can keep. Well done, Adrit. And he'll take the Bhagavatam. So, from our experience, not only is Adrit strong like a bull, from holding him, I can tell he's very mighty, but also he'll have great gusto for every aspect of Krishna consciousness. Not just, he'll be shastric, but he'll also have the wherewithal to manage wealth, to help start centers all over the world. He'll have resources given to him by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So let's thank Adrit for his demonstrative expression of his life's proclivities. And now for Gaurangi. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shastra, clearly in mind. Let the record show that Gaurangi has lovingly embraced the Krishna book, and she's examining all the other books as well. Sri Laghu Bhagavatamrita, she's again going for the Krishna book. She has a sense of its aesthetic, lovingly moving her hand. Now she's seeing the wealth, but she's eschews the wealth and is only interested in the Bhagavatam, showing her proclivity in life to only be interested in Krishna consciousness. She'll be absorbed in reading Shastra, teaching Shastra, perhaps even translating into different languages. She'll be a great book distributor. Well done, Gaurangi. Well done, Adrit. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Panchatattva, Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev, if you so desire. Please empower and protect our dear Adrit and Gaurangi so that they may always be in your loving embrace, engaged in pure devotional service in the association of devotees. May they always relish hearing the Shastra, chanting Hare Krishna, and associating with pure devotees. And may they have a growing compassion in their heart for the fallen souls of the material world. May they be instrumental in spreading the Sankirtan movement all over the world. Thank you for considering our request. May they also be healthy, happy, wealthy, pleasure to their parents. May they have amazing friends, and may they never touch the material world, although they go through all the steps of necessary duties in this life. May they always be absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part, please say Hare Krishna. I hereby declare this first grain ceremony to be a complete success, and we thank all of the parents for coming here today and giving this opportunity for the whole community to see the nature of these amazing children. May you thrive in every aspect of your life. Gaur Premanande Haribol. Vanchakalpadruscha Kripasindabevacha Patitanam Bhavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nantakoti Vaishnavini Ki Jai Shari Vijaja Jotendriya Taheka Jive Pele Vishaya Shagare Karmaje Jivayati Lobhamasi Gurmati Akita Satita Samsare Krishna Bora Goya Moy Kori Pare Jivasar Chapasha Nanda Tilopai Seyanamrita Pao Radha Krishna Guna Gao Premidako Site Kanyari Premidako Mako Sri Chaitanya Ikan Mahaprasade Govinde Namaprani Vaisnave Sattvapunya Patamnagan Krishna Sonanjayate Prasade Sarva Dukana Madhyasyo Jayate Ratmanashe Kasuryasu Bhutipaya Mudikya Jayo Pavitra Sananda Bhasaramkar Kartikaha Isha Odino Dasa Savamaya Nayenagi Isha Parvati Sambhati Sambhati Vaisesika Bhakti Matrena Bhoktavyam Bhaktikala Vitarana Kesharina Bhaktana Kala Bhaktana Bhaktamana Bhaktaya Hare Abhave Bhagavat Shri Mahaprasad Ki Gaur Premanande Nitai Gaura Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Nitai Gaura Hari Bo. Can I say it? Is there prasadam? Please come take prasadam. Prasadam today will be served in the picnic area. Go straight out this door, take a sharp right, and you'll run right into it. Hare Krishna. Mancha kalpadurvascha, kripa sindhaveva cha,